Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Prez, and in this video I'm going over the best build of 2023. And honestly, not just 2023, but in all of Elden Ring. There will never be a build more simple to use and more overpowered than the build I'm showing you in this video. And this video will be a thorough and to the point on everything you need to know. I made a similar video about a month ago, but this video is an improved version of that. Since I've noticed a spike in new players in Elden Ring, I wanted to cover the old strats that people don't talk about anymore and put them into this build to make this thing even more overpowered. But I don't want to waste time since I'll explain that later in the video. So sit back, relax, and take in all this info that I'm going to show you in this video. And I promise you after this, once you obtain this full build, this game will never give you a challenge again when using this. And all I ask for before we begin is a like and a sub on this video. I'm about to hit 80,000 subscribers on my channel, and that's all thanks to you guys and your support. So thank you so much if you do, and for everyone who watches me, you guys are truly amazing, so thank you. I'm going to be live streaming the Hogwarts Legacy game when it comes out soon, so make sure you guys stay tuned to that if you're interested in that game, because I'm assuming a lot of people are. No one really knows what to expect from the game yet, so that's why I'm going to be live streaming it. I'm just going to give my honest review on the game, but let's start with this video. First, for your primary weapon, you're going to be using Mohg's Sacred Spear. I'm going to briefly cover this since I'm sure a lot of people know or might have saw my last video, but this weapon is completely broken, and in my opinion, this is the absolute best weapon in the entire game. Not only for the damage it does, but also for the lack of skill this thing requires. People have always hated on Rivers of Blood that played this game, but this weapon is truly the real menace. It has very high physical damage along with split high fire damage, meaning we can use spells and talismans to increase the damage further on this weapon. It also stacks up to 94 bleed, and all that makes the weapon insanely good, but the only thing you need to know is how to use its Ash of War. And if you can't figure that out, well, you probably need some help. You literally just click one button. Basically, hit the Ash of War button and everything in a 360-degree radius of you dies. Performing the full Ash of War will kill almost every enemy in the entire game, even almost every boss. But that's only if you use this build. If you need to attack though, the running R2 is very strong, but we mainly just use this for its Ash of War. To obtain this, you need to kill Mohg in his mausoleum. If you aren't sure how to do that, there's plenty of good guides out there. I don't really want to add in this video because I don't want to stretch this video out too long. But as a nice secondary, like putting a big iron on your hip, I'm going to be using the Bandit's Curved Sword. You can obtain this easily at the Church of Pilgrimage. Just kill the skeletons outside the church. They have a 2% chance to drop this, and if you get lucky enough, you'll get it. And I definitely recommend farming it until you get 2 so you can power stance it, because the jumping attack is insane. But once you get this fully upgraded, and then add the Ash of War Seppuku. Make sure Seppuku is on the one in your right hand so it's easier to do, and the one in your offhand, just put any bleed affinity you want on it. With these two and Seppuku, your jumping attacks are going to trigger blood loss almost every time, and this is the second most broken option you have in the game. And finally, for your weapon slots, I recommend you use a seal. Use any spells you would like if you want spells further, but I heavily recommend you use Flame Grant Me Strength. And if you really want damage, you can also use the Howl Shabriri. This even does more damage, and it pairs with Flame Grant Me Strength. But sometimes this can make the build a little bit overcomplicated for some people, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Now, if you saw my last video I made like a month ago, I think, you might be like, dude, is this the same video? And here's where it's a lot different, because this is the most overpowered strat in the game. This time we're going to be using the Mimic Tier, so you need to find that. This can be located from the Ancestral Woods, and I have a guide on my channel, and there's plenty of good ones out there on YouTube if you need it. It's really simple to get, but with the Mimic Tier, just add it to your pouch, and I'll get back to that after we cover armor. For your headpiece, use the White Mask. This will give you a 10% damage buff when blood loss is triggered, and you can trigger this easily by using Seppuku, but it really triggers a lot when you use the Sacred Spear's Ash of War. For your chest, and this is really only if you're using jumping attacks, use Raptor's Black Feathers. This is because you gain a 10% damage buff from jumping attacks. And for the hands and legs, you can really just use anything you want. There isn't anything crazy you can use here in this to help damage, but if you really feel like you need something, you can use the Royal Remains set. This will passively restore your HP for you, so whenever you're hurt, you'll just get health back. But let's begin with talismans, and this is where stuff changes. In your first slot, you need to run the Claw Talisman. This is because this is the most redundant talisman for your Mimic Tier. Once I've covered all the talismans though, I'll explain what that means. In the next 3 slots, use the Shard of Alexander to increase the damage of your Ash of War, the Lord of Blood's Exaltation to enhance damage when blood loss is triggered, and finally the Fire Scorpion Charm. Since Mohg's Sacred Spear does fire damage, this will increase the damage of its physical attack, but mainly its Ash of War. Now for this build, we actually use 5 talismans, and the 5th one that we're using is Shabriri's Woe, which upon your first inspection is literally the standout worst talisman in the entire game. What it does is constantly attract enemies' aggression, so Now, why the heck would we want that? Well, basically, before any boss fight like what I'm showing you on screen, I switch out the Claw Talisman for Shabriri's Woe. Once it's on, I walk into the boss fight, and as soon as I possibly can, I call on my Mimic Tear. Once it's in, I heal because the Mimic Tear takes away your health, but after that, I immediately take off Shabriri's Woe. And once I take it off, I put on the Claw Talisman, but it doesn't even matter if you don't do that. Just make sure that you take off Shabriri's Woe. Now, once you're inside the boss fight and your Mimic Tear is called in, and as long as you called him in with Shabriri's Woe Talisman on, and you took yours off, the boss will mainly focus majority of its attention on your Mimic Tear. This is because he obviously has the talisman on and you don't. And trust me, this works. I wouldn't tell you guys if it doesn't work. I've tested this plenty of times and across a lot of bosses, and I can confirm this is stupidly broken. I mean, you just saw how easy the hardest boss in the entire game was for me to kill. And trust me, you guys can do this. This doesn't take any kind of weird skill. It's just really that easy. A monkey with 2 brain cells could do this. I mean, this build is just insane. This build just requires 0 skill and is for anyone who wants to cheese the game. And now it's time for your levels, and I never really like to tell people how they should spend their levels, but I'll briefly go over it for you if you're confused. And yes, I'm a high level, but that means absolutely nothing. This build is completely broken no matter what level you are, and I highly doubt anyone can come up with a better build than this one. I'm sure there are plenty of good one-hit builds out there using RKR and the Jellyfish Shield and anything else like that, and they work great, don't get me wrong, but for a practical playthrough and the average player, there's nothing more easy and more overpowered than this build. You just click one button, stand still, and kill everything in the game, and once you've called in your Mimic Tear with Shabriri's Woe on, the boss won't even look at you. But anyways, back to your levels, and the minimum requirements you need for Mohg's Sacred Spear is 24 Strength, 27 Arcane, and 14 Dexterity. With those levels, you'll also be able to use the Curved Swords, so that definitely makes it something you should focus on. For the rest of your levels, as in all my build videos, I never like to tell you, but here are the soft caps if you need them. These are basically the highest point you should go when leveling up, and once you achieve one soft cap, I would start focusing on the next one. And if you need even more damage on top of everything else, in your physic, you can use the Flame Shroud and Correct Tear. This is for added fire damage and anything you want on top of that. But yeah, guys, that basically wraps up the full build guide video. I don't see anyone making a better build for this game, so this will probably go down as the best build for Elden Ring. Sure, you might be able to one-hit a boss, but not everyone wants to sit there for an entire minute buffing their character before every fight. But yeah, as I'm ending this video, I'm going to remind you guys that I'm going to be live streaming the Hogwarts Legacy game coming up soon, and I'll let you know the first day I can stream it in the Discord, so join it if you need that info. It'll be a bit of a high energy stream, and I'll be showing off the game for people who are debating whether or not they should get it. Nobody really knows what to think about the game yet, so I'll be giving my honest impressions on the game when I stream it. And if you want to just chill with me and watch the gameplay and determine for yourself, I'd love to have you there. So again, check my Discord if you want info on when I'm going to be live streaming it. Comment Hogwarts if you made it all the way to this point in the video, and if you did, thank you so much. You're seriously awesome. Your guys' support is actually insane to me, so thank you to every single one of you. Much love to everyone who watches me and supports me, but other than that, I'm out, bruh. Peace.